A government agency says you shouldn't trust non-toxic labels on everything, especially water beads. While many major retailers announced they no longer sell the product as toys, our national investigative team finds they're available, often with just a new description. Factfinder investigator Lee Zurich digs into what non-toxic really means and why one mom says the label is dangerous.
7 years ago, the word non-toxic was part of a selling point for Ashley Haugen and her husband to agree to buy their older daughter water beads.
You would think if something said non-toxic that it literally meant that it had nothing in it that was potentially harmful. That's what you would think, and that is not the case.
Ashley said they did harm her then one-year-old daughter Kipley, who got a hold of the little squishy beads despite playing in a separate area. When these little beads are dry, they're the size of a sprinkle.
We had followed all the best advice, and yet we were sitting here in the hospital. We all just sat and prayed, and the surgeon came out and he showed us a picture, and he said, "Do you know what this is?" And the picture was of the water bead material that we had purchased for Abigail's 6th birthday.
You don't feel good.
Kipley initially seemed to recover, but then she began having movement and other issues, some of which persist today.
The developmental pediatrician, he ruled everything else that it could possibly be out, and he diagnosed her with toxic brain encephalopathy, which is a brain injury due to exposure to chemicals.
Are water beads non-toxic or toxic?
I wouldn't trust any non-toxic labeling on water beads. You know, there's companies marking that on products, and there's not standards out there that say what non-toxic means.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission oversees thousands of product categories in the United States. But the way laws are written, they often have to negotiate with manufacturers and can't make immediate warnings. Those can take months or years. And according to Commissioner Richard Trumpka, the word non-toxic is no guarantee, especially when it comes to water beads.
CPSC's conducted testing of water beads and found concerning levels of acrylamides. It's not a label that the companies have run by us and gotten our approval on, or any other government agency. So I wouldn't take them at face value.
And with no pre-approval of these labels by our regulatory agency and the inability for the government to test every single product that goes to market, non-toxic has become nonsense to parents like Ashley.
All of us were thinking, okay, non-toxic, it should be fine, she should be fine.
In December, Trumpka wrote to major retailers asking them to stop selling water beads. Many of them quickly made that commitment to pull products: Target, Walmart, Amazon, and others. Our team has watched listings disappear slowly online and products removed from shelves. But we found there are still plenty of listings for water beads to be used in flower vases or as decor, some of them still brightly colored and appear to have been previously sold or used as toys. Ashley is now known as that water bead lady, a title she proudly took as a representative for other parents. Both she and Commissioner Trumpka support a bill that would ban water beads, and she says there's more to be done.
If we're supposed to protect our kids, which is what most loving, caring parents want to do, then we need that information in order to keep our kids safe.
We want to hear from you. Call our tip line or email us at the address on your screens. We'll find answers to any of your questions on the next Factfinder Investigates.